Have you ever carried something so heavy you forgot what it felt like to be light? I'm not talking about a physical burden. I'm talking about a person. Or rather, the jagged, frozen ghost of what a person did to you. For 3 long, agonizing years, I carried a man named Marcus in my chest. I didn't carry him with love, or even with a lingering sense of loss. I carried him with a resentment so sharp it dictated every breath I took. I used to wake up at 4 a.m., my heart already racing, rehearsing arguments I would never have. I used to walk through the grocery store and see a car that looked like his, and my hands would start to shake on the steering wheel. I thought my anger was my armor. I believed that as long as I stayed furious, I was somehow keeping the scales of justice balanced. I thought that if I let go of that grudge, I was letting him win. But here is the secret they don't tell you about revenge: when you drink poison to kill your enemy, you're the only one who dies. Today, I want to tell you how I stopped dying. I want to take you through the architecture of a betrayal, the long winter of a soul, and the day I discovered that forgiveness isn't a gift you give to the person who hurt you. It is the secret, explosive joy of finally giving yourself permission to breathe again. This isn't a story about being a saint. It's a story about being a survivor who decided that her peace was worth more than her pride. To understand the joy, you have to understand the theft. Marcus and I weren't just business partners, we were the kind of friends who finish each other's sentences. We met in a cramped design studio during our final year of university. While everyone else was out at the bars, we were hunched over drafting tables, arguing about the environmental impact of urban sprawl. We built the greenhouse from nothing. We started in my garage with 2 mismatched laptops, a stack of blueprints, and a shared dream of making cities more human. He was the charisma, the face of the firm. He could walk into a room of cynical developers and make them believe in the power of a vertical garden. And I was the quiet architect. I was the one who stayed up until dawn, perfecting the airflow ratios, the structural integrity, and the sustainability metrics. I trusted him with everything. I gave him the keys to my bank accounts, the passwords to my servers, and most importantly, I gave him my mother's legacy. She had been a pioneer in landscape design, and I had digitized her life's work, designs that were decades ahead of their time. I remember a specific Tuesday. The sun was hitting the studio floor, and we had just landed our first major municipal contract. Marcus hugged me, his eyes bright with what I thought was shared triumph. He said, "We're a team for life, Lil. I've always got your back." I believed him. I didn't see the way he was slowly BCCing himself on every private client email. I didn't notice that he was registering the patents in his name only for administrative ease. I was too busy building our future to notice he was busy building an exit strategy. I thought we were building a cathedral, he was building a getaway car. The end didn't come with a shout. It came with a locked door. On a Monday morning that felt like any other, my key didn't turn. I thought it was a mistake, a jam tumbler. But then I saw the notice on the glass. The locks had been changed. My email access was revoked. My bank accounts, the ones holding our operating capital, had been drained and closed. Marcus hadn't just left. He had rebranded. Over the weekend, he moved our entire office into a luxury suite across town. He took the greenhouse, renamed it Marcus Design Group, and sent a cease and desist letter to my home address, claiming that I was the one trying to steal his intellectual property. The next 2 years were a slow descent into madness. I was obsessed. I wasn't just trying to get my money back, I was trying to get my justice. I spent every waking hour checking his social media, watching him win awards for designs I had spent months perfecting in my garage. I watched him give interviews about his vision for sustainable cities while I sat in a dark apartment, eating cold cereal because I couldn't afford the heat. I became a debt collector for a debt that could never be paid. My friends stopped calling because every conversation was a 40-minute rant about Marcus. My sister told me I was stuck, and I screamed at her. I told her she didn't understand. I was in the right. The law was on my side. But being right felt like being buried alive. I was grinding my teeth so hard at night that my jaw was constantly bruised. I had become a version of the very people I hated, bitter, cold, and hyper-focused on destruction. I was locked in a cage of my own making, and Marcus held the key, even though he wasn't even in the room. He owned my thoughts, my health, and my future. It happened on a rainy Tuesday in October. Exactly 3 years to the day after he locked me out. I was standing in a pharmacy line, waiting for a prescription for the migraines that had become my constant companions. I saw a man in a charcoal suit at the front of the line. He had the same gait as Marcus. The same way of tilting his head. My heart didn't just beat, it thundered. I felt a surge of pure, hot adrenaline and hatred so intense I felt sick to my stomach. I was ready to scream, to lung, to finally say all the things I had rehearsed for 1,000 nights. The man turned around. It wasn't Marcus. It was just a stranger buying cough drops. I walked out to my car, shaking, and I sat there as the rain hammered against the roof. I looked in the rearview mirror, and for the first time in years, I really saw myself. I didn't recognize the woman looking back. Her eyes were dull. Her face was etched with lines of perpetual anger. She looked haunted. I realized then, Marcus was living his life. He was out there eating expensive dinners, sleeping soundly, and building his empire. He wasn't thinking about me. He wasn't suffering because I was angry. He was free. And I was in a rain-soaked car, letting a ghost take my health, my beauty, and my peace every single day. I said it out loud to the empty car, he already took the company. Why am I letting him take today, too? Forgiveness didn't come as a warm, fuzzy feeling. It came as a cold, hard business decision. I realized that if I wanted to be free, I had to stop waiting for him to apologize. He was never going to say, "I'm sorry." He was never going to admit he was wrong. And if my happiness depended on his confession, I was his prisoner for life. I decided, right then, to stop being a debt collector. I decided to cancel the debt, not because he deserved it, but because I deserved to walk away from the ledger. The joy of forgiveness is a secret because it's so quiet. It's not a parade or a firework display. It's the absence of a noise you've gotten so used to that you forgot what silence sounded like. The first night after I truly decided to let go, I slept for 10 hours without waking up. When I woke up, the first thing I thought about wasn't a court filing or a revenge fantasy. It was a sketch. I wanted to draw a window. A simple, elegant window that let in the light. I went to my lawyer that afternoon and told him to drop the lawsuit. He thought I was having a breakdown. "Lily, we have the metadata. We can win this," he argued. "I already won," I told him. "I got my brain back. I'm not spending another 5 years in a courtroom trying to get blood from a stone." That's the secret joy. When you forgive, you reclaim the massive amount of creative energy you were using to maintain that fire. I took that energy and I started over. I moved to Seattle. I founded Sinclair and Sage. Within a year, my new designs that Marcus couldn't touch because they came from a heart that was finally at peace, won the municipal contract for the Olympic canopy. Today, when I see his name in a trade journal, my heart stays still. It doesn't race. It doesn't fill with acid. It's like looking at a stranger's name in a phone book. That is the ultimate triumph, indifference. He has no power over my pulse. I am the architect of my own joy now, and the foundation is built on the peace I chose for myself. I am light. I am free. And I am finally happy. I know what you're thinking right now. You're sitting there and you're thinking about the person who did it to you. The one who broke the promise, the one who stole the credit, the one who walked away when you needed them most. You're thinking, "Lily, you don't know what they took from me." You're right. I don't. I don't know the depth of your scar. but I know what you're still giving them. Every minute you spend in anger is a minute of your life that belongs to them. You don't have to call them. You don't have to tell them they're forgiven. You don't even have to like them. You just have to tell yourself that the debt is cancelled. You have to decide that you are no longer willing to pay interest on a tragedy you didn't ask for. If this story helped you catch your breath today, if it helped you see a way out of the dark, please share it with someone who is currently carrying a stone they need to drop. Subscribe to this journey of resilience, because we are building a community where we choose peace over being right. Leave a comment below and just type one word, free. Let's start the movement of letting go together. Let's reclaim our energy. Let's reclaim our lives. I'm Lily. And I want you to know, it is a beautiful day to be light.